So let's start the broadcast with a simple question. Do you believe that the United States of America completely destroyed all of Iran's nuclear capability? Yes or no? Now, does that mean that the 4-hour strike wasn't successful? Not what I'm stating. Although the talking heads seem to have an answer for that, and they seem to have more intelligence than, well, the rest of the entire world. Now I'm going to state my position right up front. That would be extremely short-sighted, especially with the intelligence I'm about to bring you, and I have brought you, and we'll tie it together. And it all leads to one conclusion. The United States of America will have to strike again if Trump wants to live up to the commitment he made, which I, as I told you before, agree with. Iran can't have a nuclear bomb. My position is no one should. And that's the story and the details I'm going to bring you here in 1 minute. I'm not going to bore you with replaying the clip of CNN coming out and having a classified intelligence report stating, as it states there, that the Fordow nuclear site was largely intact. How they got it? Well, that's going to cause a whole different series of events, of which Pete Hegseth is investigating. Says FBI is conducting an investigation into leak of intel report on strike against Iran. Remember, we're in the fogs of war. A lot of what you're being told may not be entirely accurate, but when classified documents come out, that's an entirely separate issue. Knowing the Kremlin has stated it's too early to assess damage to Iranian nuclear facilities from U.S. bombs, but lately the rest of the world seems to be a bit more sensible than those in D.C. The same D.C. that's defending the waste, fraud, and abuse that Elon Musk and team and Doge uncovered. And if you listen to those congressional hearings, you'll realize that the inmates are running the asylum. So I work day and night to assure I provide you intelligence to fight against the insanity. And sometimes that takes a lot of work. I have to go out and find people who can actually defend you against it. Do you know how many of my subscribers have now saved thousands for what I'm about to tell you? And best part, it's 100% free. With one phone call, you see the number below me right now. Medicare is a disaster. Bureaucracy, red tape, fraud, abuse, everything we cover here on a daily basis. And the system, it's not built to help you. Anyone who has a loved one or who has pursued Medicare realizes it's no simple process. That's why I partnered with Chapter, a sponsor that actually fights alongside us for truth. Because I'm not just here to break headlines, I'm here to protect you. And I'm here to protect your wallet. The system is rigged. The rules are buried. And most people have absolutely no clue where to start. But the folks over at Chapter, they're licensed Medicare professionals. Not bots, no gimmicks, no games. One phone call and you get a real person. What a thought, huh? They cut through all the garbage. And they weed through all the plans available to you to help you make the smartest choice. And that is not an easy choice. The average person that works with Chapter saves $1,100 per year. And the best part, 100% free for one phone call to 805-619-5011. Again, that number, 805-619-5011. You trust me for truth. Now, trust me, the Chapter is the real deal. Because in a world designed to take from you, it's finally time to take something back. Call them now. But now let's get back to this video. So what has the IAEA said about our strikes in Iran?
Well, we as inspectors, we say what we can check and verify. We have been, of course, following from the beginning of the military action on the 13th, the situation and what we see. I mean, I could agree in the sense that what we see is a very important degree of damage in the three facilities.
Well, he rambles on. And he always rambles on. But what he basically said is it was a significant setback. And there's been a lot of controversy over that. Overall, even here domestically, I struggle with anyone who believes the statement that their entire uranium enrichment program has been destroyed. What Trump has stated is the Fort Howe facility was devastated, and the other attacks were devastating, and they were successful attacks. He has not stated, at least as I have heard him, that they have been completely destroyed. There is arguments over the time of setback. How long have they been set back? U.S. intelligence reads one thing, the world reports another, but that's normal. It's the fogs of war, right? Except when you heard him go through those 3 sites, he seemed to have missed one, didn't he? Well, it's one you haven't been told about. Maybe one of many we haven't been told about. U.S. intelligence found Iran did not move nuclear material from Fort Howe ahead of attack. So all their material was there. And is that statement even entirely true? I've shown you the evidence of this before. However, if we find out that we didn't, we will be working with our allies to finish the job, or we will finish the job. Representative Mullins stated that. And Trump later comes back with a more direct statement. They're claiming that they are moving some material, Mullins said, referring to Israel and Iran. Our intelligence report says they didn't. In fact, we actually believe they stored more of it in Fort Howe because they believe Fort Howe was impenetrable. More of it, not all of it. It's in their statements. But we have to just come to reality here, black and white reality. You have to get out of the conception that their entire program was destroyed. It wasn't. And I will state that unequivocally here. Because again, we research, we study, it can't be. Am I on the ground? Absolutely not. Iran is looking to restore its nuclear industry. Iran's nuclear chief states. More news. Iran likely has more underground sites it could turn into uranium facilities. Again, I'm going to ask you the question. Do you think everything's 100% destroyed? They have no way to build a bomb. They've been set back for years. Do you believe that? That means we struck every single centrifuge. We destroyed every single piece of uranium-60. Think about that for a moment. That's a rather bold position to take. And the administration hasn't taken that. They state that they have set them back for years. Mainstream media, others are reporting that it set them back for months. Now, Iran statements can be viewed in 2 ways. Iran says nuclear installations badly damaged by American strikes. So, yeah, okay, you got us. But did you get it all? Iran's never going to tell you that. Now, will they? All we can do is buy their action. They refused to go into detail, but conceded the strikes on Sunday by American B-2 bombers using bunker buster bombs had been significant. The IAEA comes out. No radiation spike after the strike, which would be unusual if you used bunker busters and blew the bunker wide open and there was uranium-60 that was now exposed. You would expect to see a bigger radiation spike in the area. Those are satellites that go over, but somehow it's not there. I know the counter-argument will be because it's buried under rubble, 200 feet of rubble to be more specific, but hold on for a moment. Because a lot of people don't even know this map exists. Now they'll recognize Natanz in the white outline, but they won't recognize what's in the yellow outline because, well, you're not being told. Of course you're not. It's the Pickaxe facility. I'm a big proponent here of actual factual news, black and white news, and unfortunately sometimes the reality can be hard to swallow, but we must face reality. That way we can better predict what will happen in the future, and we can prepare ourselves for that. If you appreciate that, I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll join as a member. I hope you'll provide super thanks. I hope you'll support my sponsor earlier and give him a call. That means the world to me, because that keeps these lights and cameras on so I could provide you information like Pickaxe Mountain, Iran's new hidden nuclear fortress. Ultra-secure tunnel complex far deeper, and that is the key, than Fort Howe, could be perfect hiding spot for, well, as everyone will declare who's actually researched this, missing uranium. Because, folks, I'm here to tell you, we didn't get it all. That would be virtually impossible. Doesn't mean the missions that were flown weren't successful. It just means we can't take that leap of faith quite yet. The sprawling site is 90 miles south of Fort Howe, and only minutes away from the Natanz nuclear facility in the Isfahan province. Sorry about that. The installation, which is still under construction, even though any inspectors aren't allowed to visit it, and I'll tell you why, because Mr. Grossi asked them to visit it. He said, obviously that's a place where there's a lot going on, a lot of activity. I'd really like to see it. And he was told, it's none of your business what's going on in there. So who really could determine if it's done or not? Maybe there's boots on the ground, except this is a fairly secure facility. More secure than Fordow was, and far deeper, which lends to a whole different host of problems. Because why are you insulating any facility to such a degree if you're not pursuing a bomb? It's a pretty simple question. And as a matter of fact, Marco Rubio later in this will say the same darn thing. And there isn't 2 entrances to this facility, there's 4. It's more expansive, and it's far deeper, and it's far more secure. The perimeter is much different than what we've seen. Tehran has been hiding sites housing hundreds, if not thousands, of advanced centrifuges. So again, I'll ask the question, do you think we got it all? How much do you think we've slowed down Iran? I can't wait to see it in the comments. Well, we'll go further. On Monday, with a renewed sense of urgency, he called for inspectors to be allowed to visit all the sites. This is, again, the IAEA, in an effort to account for its highly enriched uranium stockpiles. And on Tuesday, Emmanuel Macron, the French president, warned that the risk of Iran trying to enrich uranium covertly has increased twofold. Of course it has. They're pissed. The ceasefire? A stall tactic, as I told you from the beginning, to keep bombs from hitting, so they can reorganize. They can orchestrate the rebuilding of their nuclear sites so that they can accelerate their enrichment program, not decelerate it. On Wednesday, fears continued to grow as the Iranian parliament passed a bill to suspend its cooperation with the IAEA. They're not hiding anything. They're not speeding up. We got 100% of everything. You see how easy this is? And why aren't people in Congress talking this way? Why aren't they just seizing the reality, preparing the reaction, supporting the president? Man, that's the scariest thing to me, is watch their reaction, watch the dissent, because they use everything to divide and conquer. It's plain and simple. They always have and they always will. While Fordow was described as the crown jewel of Iran's nuclear enrichment program, Pickaxe's size and depth suggest facilities with significant enrichment capacity that could rival or exceed the damaged underground plant. Well, that's of concern. But the depth is of paramount concern. You see the main entrance. You see where Natanz was. Again, we didn't strike Pickaxe. We didn't hit it according to all accounts available to us to review. But here's the real problem. Fordow was about 295 feet. According to whatever intelligence we can gather, the maximum depth of a bunker buster is 200 feet. Pickaxe is 328 feet below ground. Impenetrable to our bunker buster bomb. Now you take that in conjunction with last time at Natanz, in the 2021 explosion, all that happened is they decided to begin to convert uranium to 60%. So after this attack, will they now make the decision to continue converting to 90%? In recent years, Iran's deployed about 6,000 advanced centrifuges at various facilities. Now that's a scary number. That's a lot of centrifuges to have to get. And with more now facilities that aren't being discussed, it should be of paramount concern. And go back to the image I showed you prior to the Fordow attack of all these trucks seemingly loading up something and moving it with only a 90-mile distance to the Pickaxe facility, buried far too deep for our bunker busters to get to. And I ask you the question again. Do you think we destroyed everything? We set them back for years, for months, for weeks, or we didn't set them back at all? It's a big question. The Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, even assuming the complete destruction of the sites, the ones we hit. The game's not over. Because enriched materials, indigenous knowledge, and political will remain intact. No one can tell us what we should or should not do. And now I'm going to play you Marco Rubio, who says a lot of the questions are irrelevant, and they actually are. To assume it's 100% destroyed is short-sighted. It's not. To believe that one single attack would end it is improbable. And it's why all the questions on if they have a bomb or not, if you're going to stop them from getting one, are all irrelevant. It must be a complete and total ending of the program, which leads to Trump's final statement. But I'll let Marco speak first.
Let me follow up on a phrase you just word, weaponization ambitions. Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I see that question being asked in the media. That's an irrelevant question.
No,
they have
that
everything
is the
they need
key
to build
point
a weapon.
in U.S. intelligence assessments. You know that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political decision had not been made.
I know that better than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But I'm asking you whether the order was given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury
Stop right there. Why would you bury things in a mountain 300 feet below the ground? Do you think Marco already knows the next strike? Do you think he already knows what we have to hit? Because how far, again, below the ground was the Pickaxe facility? 328 feet below the ground. Fordo was 295. Both of which the bunker buster technically couldn't penetrate based on the intelligence that we've been given. It can only go to 200. It could collapse things above it, but again, we didn't hit Pickaxe. It already has the tunnels built. It's already built to 328 feet below the ground, and maybe now this statement from Trump makes a whole lot more sense. Trump vows to bomb Iran again in another furious outburst as he denounces the scum who doubt whether nuclear program was destroyed. Now that's a strong statement, even from President Trump, because to believe it was 100% destroyed makes no normal sense. Even President Trump has to know that. Marco Rubio obviously knows that. So what's next? Why would you bomb him again? See, they're already telling you what's coming. I'm just preparing you for the reality you're about to face before we get to the non-reality of the inmates running the asylum in the great republic of the United States of America. Because when we have an actual national interest conflict occurring, man, all they can do is bicker and argue with each other. I'm going to continue on now over at restrictedrepublic.com. Easy one, restrictedrepublic.com. Get there, monthly and annual subscriptions. We'd love to have you as part of the family there, because no matter what the other platforms do, we'll always be the bastion for this black and white news. Exclusive content. Over there, no commercials, no interruptions, just stone cold hard facts, and I want you to join the family today. Get over to restrictedrepublic.com, and always remember, I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.